Hello, family. When I say family, we got some real family in the building. Jerry, what an unexpected, super beautiful surprise. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing fine. I won't be able to walk tomorrow because I was shoveling snow all day, but otherwise I'm fine.
Okay. Well, that's look, I always say like the best kind of exercise is the kind you get outside, like when you're doing yard work and you're like, man, my calves are burning. You're like, oh, that's how people used to work out back in the day.
Back in the day. Right.
Yeah. You know what? Me and
Believe
my
me.
girl, we watch that there's a show on Hulu. It's off the air now, but it's called Breaking Amish. And they always like take their Amish clothes off and then put on English clothes, for the first time. And they all have incredible bodies. Like all of them are ripped.
The Amish are ripped.
They are, because they've been doing yard work, like taking hay, throwing it on or whatever the hell you have to put it on. The girls have nice they're just like all, because they do nothing but really physical work all day. And so, like I said it last night to my girls, like I think one of them actually became a model in the first season, like did New York Fashion Week and everything. Like she was like gorgeous. Like, whoa. Yeah.
Don't miss the Amish.
You can't blame the hay for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, see, now Jerry's going to be on, New York Fashion Week. He's going to leave our show, Tori.
He's too good for us.
Did you guys discuss the football games this weekend, Tor?
Yes. So Jer had a daughter, my sister, who is a Patriots fan, and the other daughter's a Broncos fan. So he apologized to me and congratulated my sister.
All right. See, there you go. Now, Jerry, who do you lean with in terms of sporting events when it comes to football?
Well, I still have my heart for the Commanders, though it's going to be a long haul to get them up to the playoff game, much less the Super Bowl. But we have hopes. And for the Washington Nationals, so I'm just a local guy here.
But you like the Patriots. You're like New Englandy, right?
Oh, sure. I mean,
yeah.
I support the Patriots.
Somebody's going to clip that and be like, Jerry went MAGA. I'm a true Patriot. Clip. That's awesome. I really do. Your daughter came over to our house, which is her second home over here. You are always welcome here. And I had a friend, my friend Mo Vita, very funny comic here in Denver. She was over here watching the games with us as well. And I think she was shocked, Tori, to find out that, like, even though, like, obviously you grew up a kind of New Englandy fan, that you're like very pro Broncos. Because I think there's two kinds of people. There's your dad and there's you. Your dad is like, no matter where I am, I'm a local guy. I support the Nationals, the Senators, the Commanders, blah.
The Senators.
And you're like,
No, I don't support the Senators lately.
Yeah, right. See, that's they can get you in trouble.
Any Senators?
What's the name of the hockey team?
No, that's the Capitals.
Are they? Who's the Senators then? I thought is that
They
their
used to
old name for the baseball team?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of a cool name. I kind of like it. Anyway, and Tori, you moved here to Denver, and you're like, when in Rome, and then you just put on your blue and orange. So it's just two ways to watch the same sport. I love it. Jerry, what is the weather like over where you are? Did you get hit with all this loveliness that Mother Nature gave us?
Yes, we got hit with about 6 to 8 inches of snow, and then capped with actually sandwiched between 2 layers of ice, which makes it somewhat more difficult to shovel than usual.
And it's the worst ice cream sandwich. Yes.
Yes, an ice sandwich, and it's in the 20s at the high, so it's going to stick around for a while. I just spent an hour or so with help of some friends digging out my car so I can get off tomorrow morning. I figured I'd better do it today than wait till tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine, because I told them I lived in, the New England area for years. And they were like, well, those streets are so narrow. What happens when they come and plow the snow? Doesn't that just abut right against your car and you're trapped? And I'm like, yes, that's what happens. I think they thought that there was like some kind of special thing. It's like, they don't really care about parked cars. They're just trying to make it so you can see the road. So when you do have to leave, like you do, Jerry, like you will just see snow-covered car, and then a beautiful space because like somebody dug it out. You can see, and then that is the most vaunted, like the most sought after space in the city. So yeah, man, good luck to you.
Yeah, well, I'm doing fine. I think I'll get out tomorrow. Whether I can get back in or into any space at all, I have no idea.
Yeah. Kathy loves to travel, says Al, you look like Stevie Wonder. That is a great call.
Yes.
If you moved your head sort of back and forth.
Why did he do that?
I think it helps him like hear. I'm totally making that up, but I think it like I don't know. I think it helps his other senses, maybe, or like to find the mic. Maybe I am absolutely making that.
I don't know if it's to find the mic, but I do think there's something to maybe helping him hear, because this sounds really dumb, but when you get like a pair of like Apple earpods or whatever, they have you rotate your head because it's like spatial hearing, and so like I wonder if it's like something like because it's trying to mimic the same sounds of the ear. So I don't know. We're both talking out of our collective asses.
Yes,
but I'm sure there's a reason for this. Now, before we get into any kind of weird conspiracy, Jerry, have you ever heard the conspiracy that Stevie Wonder can actually see?
No, that's a new one on me.
That's terrible.
Isn't that insane? Which one's
wild.
crazier? Do you think that or that birds aren't real? Because that kind of had some traction for a little while.
They aren't real?
Yeah.
I mean,
Jerry, there are millions of Americans that do not think that birds are real. They are dead serious.
No, they think they're robots, right? I think that they think that they're sent by the government and that birds.
Oh, we need like drones.
Yeah, they think birds are robots.
Oh, well, okay, I can understand that one, but no, I don't happen to believe in it. But it's now more believable than what, as you described it before.
Right. They're both equally ridiculous. And weren't there birds in like the 1800s? Were those also robots? Even though like
they evolved, obviously.
Yeah, they came from dinosaurs.
Yeah. Birds did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're so mean.
I don't know with you and the birds. I just said hi to a goose and he was very kind. Like
geese are not nice. Swans are mean as shit.
That's the only two birds you ever reference.
Those are the only ones I know.
How about a robin?
Ray Charles kind of swayed like that too. That's true, Sue Kitchen.
There's got to be I know Michael Dean is on it, so he'll find. I think it probably does have something to do with spatial awareness, and it really bothers me that you got that right, Tori, even though you just had no idea what you're talking about. That really truly bothers me. All right, Tori, let's get into. By the way, Tori, weather was good for you. I was very proud of you. You drove home yesterday after leaving my house. You were a little scared of driving in the snow. Jerry, I'm going to ask you this, father to father. You've raised an incredible young lady. She's one of my most favorite people I've ever met in my life. Are you sure that she has ever used a brush to get snow off of a car? Are you sure? Have you seen it?
When she was living at home, I saw her take a brush to the car. Since then, I have no idea.
Well, she needs to brush up because I, of course, walked your daughter out. It was dark and it's cold, so I walked her to her car. And I'm like, let me get the snow off the car. Of course, she's an independent woman. And she was like, I got this. And she grabbed the snow brush in a way that I've never seen anybody grab it. It'd be like if somebody was like, I'll sweep the floor, and then they grab the broom at the bottom. That was such a weird way that she grabbed it. And you knocked out the front window. And I was like, I'll do the rest. And you gave in pretty quick. And you got in the car because it was freezing. And then I got to the passenger side of the car and it was untouched. It was like, were you just planning on just making all left turns?
Yeah, it was going to be a very left-handed turn on. Totally. I totally think so. Oh, by the way, Stevie Wonder's signature swing is termed blindism. It serves as a natural way to maintain tempo and feel the music's rhythm and provide sensory input. That's cool.
So interesting.
Yeah.
This world is so amazing.
Fascinating.
Yes. All right. Just like it's as fascinating as you getting the snow off of your car, Tori, but you did it and you got home and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Can you tell everybody the basic general tense of the text that I sent to make sure that you had gotten home okay?
Yeah. You asked if I were there or if someone who found your phone
trying to make whoever has the phone laugh, whoever it is. Hopefully it's your daughter. All right, let's get into this, Tori and Jerry, because it has been, I would say, it's been more than a week. It just seems like every day is a week at this point. So let's talk. All right, we are talking about I don't know what's going on with the StreamYard. It's being very glitchy. Are you seeing that?
No,
Okay, good. I think my electronics are just shutting down
you have a
slowly.
problem.
Like my microphone just died. My sound scan that I've had for years just doesn't turn on anymore. It's been a day, but it's been let's talk about what's really going on this planet, and especially as it has to do with Minneapolis. Jerry, I can't wait for you to weigh in. Trump is sending Tom Homan, the director of the DHS, Homeland Security, to Minneapolis.
No,
He said,
he's the border czar. Christy
is
Nolan.
he's the border czar. Yes, Christy Nolan is DHS. Yes. Trump says that he and Governor Tim Walz had a very good call. What do you hear? What do you hear when Trump says, "I had a very good call," Tori?
I hear that there was some production there was productive in some way. Like he didn't just pout. Like movement was made.
Okay. All right. Very good. Look, we're looking for any silver linings. He's sending borders are. Oh, what do you hear, Jerry?
I would actually disagree. I think for Trump, a good call is a call where somebody said nice things about him, regardless of what happens in the rest of the call. That's all he wants to hear.
Sadly, now I'm Team Jerry. I tried to be happy, and you pulled me back to reality. We don't always want that here.
Okay, sorry.
All right. So he's sending border czar Tom Homan to oversee the ICE operation as a judge weighs in on whether the federal surge is even legal, which I cannot wait to ask Jerry about. So I'm going to ask both of you guys. Let me ask Jerry first, and then Tori, you chime in. Is this Trump turning down the temperature or tightening control? Like, what do you think? Because there has been a tone shift.
I'd say that he is, as usual, got very aggressive. Things went badly, and he's going to pull back. And I think he is, in fact, going to pull back without admitting any error. He's going to pull back.
Oh, yeah. What do you think, Tori? And from your lips to God's ears, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. I think that we're starting to see some Republican congressmen question the situation in Minneapolis. And as soon as the cracks start to crack, which is a great way of saying that, I think Trump knows it's gone too far. And if it's not popular, it's not a good idea. So we're already seeing Carolyn Levitt change her tune, saying that, Mr. Preddy wasn't a domestic terrorist today in today's presser. So everything's being dialed down a bit. And I think even Trump realizes this is A, no longer popular, and B, unsustainable. And you're right, the tone has shifted. What do you think, Al?
Yes, I think that they throw things out and they see how they're received. And, I think what happened is we're looking at if this is a 26-year-old brown kid of, that could be of any ethnicity that maybe had a criminal record, does not mean that he should have, this imaginary person should have been killed. But if that was the case, there is an apparatus set up to take that person, go through their personal life. Remember, immediately we found out that George Floyd may have struggled with drugs, that George Floyd may have passed a $20 counterfeit bill. Those apparatuses to disseminate that kind of information are set up. Those apparatuses could not be used because the two Americans that were murdered look like the constituents of the people that support said regime. Yeah. They were a VA ICU nurse who now has a viral video going around of him compassionately eulogizing a veteran that had passed away, it looked like from possibly natural causes, and he was giving that man's life the honor that it deserved. And you also saw a woman and I know they tried to spin she was in a same-sex marriage narrative, but even that didn't work. You know why, Tori and Jerry, that I don't think? It's because of her car. Her car looked like everybody's car. It was a mess. It looked like families had been in there. There was a dog in the back. There were stuffed animals. And just the optics of that, you could not spin that. And I think that's why they are backing off, because the two Americans that were killed, they were unable to equate their deaths with sad but unfortunate truths that must happen. And I think what they've done is so unpopular, they have no choice but to retreat. And
just really quick to add on to that, Al, and Jag in Arizona always has it. It's very smart. NRA has rebuked the situation because he was legally allowed to have that gun. It was an open carry in Minnesota. So they are now backing up Mr. Preddy in that situation. And I did want to bring up that one of the Minnesota governor, one of the people running for Minnesota as a governor, who is a Republican, I believe it's Mark Cadell, he has taken himself out of the race because he cannot, quote, look at his daughters and say that this is what he is fighting for in terms of ICE. So you just see, when you start to see Republicans turning, there's a quick shift. This, of course, is the late Mr. Preddy, who loved his dog Jewel, who is an ICU VA nurse, and well loved by everyone at the hospital. I just saw that the hospital he worked at did a moment of silence for him, and very, very sad. Very, very sad.
And Tori, I think this is kind of a natural transition point. I wanted to, and Michael Dean, when I send you a screenshot of what my screen looks like, you're going to have to kind of take over here. In the videos underneath, it should say, it should be a long title. I think it's like "Woman Lying on TV," and I put the words over. And what this is I took a clip from CBS News that has been under fire lately. Because Barry White seems to be very deferential to this administration. And what I did is, I want this to be a series that we start, Tori, called How to Watch TV. And this, what I did was I wrote over like what she's saying and what she's also not saying. So Michael Dean, do you see that video that says that?
Is in no other scenario in this country or anywhere else in the world.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Okay, that's okay. Michael Dean looking fly.
Hello, Michael, again.
Did Al leave?
No, Al's texting.
Oh boy. Sorry guys, we're having some technical difficulties. Al's got a lot of messed up technical issues.
Oh, he says, restarting my computer, hold the fort.
So what's the next question we can ask Jer?
Well, Jerry, there is a Minnesota judge who is hearing arguments today about the legality of the ICE surge there. Tell us a little bit about what the state and what the feds are saying.
Well, I haven't seen the filings in that case, but I know the feds are saying that they have authority to enter the state, whether the state asks them in or not, and certainly for policing immigration, which is a federal issue. And the state is saying that, and they can do this without cooperation with the state, and even if the state is opposing them. The state is saying the contrary, that the feds have some legal authority, but not to do what they're doing. The excesses demonstrate that they have failed to basically follow their own rules, which is one of the big problems. So you had what appears to be people, I think I'm being charitable here, that the ICE agents who shot these two people overreacted out of fear and lack of training. They should have been trained, and supposedly were trained, to deal with these situations in a non-violent way and to de-escalate. Some of them, in fact, were trying to de-escalate while the others were firing their rifles, unfortunately. So So I think the lawsuit's going to be about a jurisdiction. Do they have the jurisdiction to be in the state? And doing the things they're doing is a separate issue, whether they're overreaching.
Let me ask you, Dad, this is what a lot of people are wanting to know. Sea-Dog, I appreciate you bringing it up. Can the Department of Homeland Security investigate the Preddy case and murder and keep the state investigators out of it? Now, I know they've blocked them physically, and a judge has given a restraining order against DHS, so they have to go away. But this fight between federal and state, how is that going to end? Because if they charge the the ICE officer, he could be easily pardoned by Trump if it's a federal offense. But if it's a state crime, he would not be able to be pardoned. So the state wants to get in there and see the evidence. If they're not allowed to, even though a judge says they are, what happens here?
Well, the rules, and this is where we work with the rules of law, and not sometimes the feds don't seem to want to mind the rules of law, but a judge can order the state to gain access to the information the feds took. And if they fail to do so, he can hold them in contempt and jail. He could go so far as to jail the people who aren't providing the information and disregarding his order. There'll be a lot of appeals of that, but that's what he ultimately could do if they fail to provide it. The state may not have the information it wants, but if the state wishes to have its own investigation, the feds certainly cannot stop them from doing so.
But
they
what
can
if
just
they're
stand in their way, but they can't stop them.
What if they're physically not able to see the evidence? And a judge says they can, but no one listens to the judge. Isn't that, to me, is the crisis we're in, that the enforcement of a judge's rule still doesn't have any say?
Well, the feds have had the habit under Trump of appealing anything that goes against them, and during the appeal, while the appeal's going on, they do not follow the order. That's actually not what's supposed to happen.
Right.
And, the order should be in effect from the time it's issued. They should be required to do what they're doing, or what they should be doing, but they fail to do so. And by the time they get to an appeal, pretty much it gets resolved in advance.
Hey, Jerry, can I ask you one question too? Some federal officials have been saying that these ICE agents have immunity, while doing their job. Is that based on what? Is that true?
Well, there is a rule of law that I don't think it's statutory. I think it's with judicial rule of law that there's qualified immunity for law enforcement officers in doing what they're doing, and while you can sue them for certain things, you have to cross a high bar to show that they were grossly negligent or reckless disregard of what they're supposed to be doing. And the simple negligence won't do it. So if they did something in error, but it wasn't a reckless disregard for the law, they do have some immunity.
So their immunity is higher than the regular person.
Yes.
Do they have absolute impunity and absolute immunity, or can they be charged at some point?
Well, I don't know whether there's something in the statute creating ICE that raised the bar even farther, but as far as I know, they're like any other law enforcement officer, and they don't have absolute immunity.
Okay.
Courts have been ruling more in favor of the law enforcement officers on that bar, not for ICE, but generally. So it's conceivable that they would be getting all or next to all full immunity.
So what's qualified immunity? That they have a stronger scrutiny that they have to reach?
Right. If you're an ordinary citizen, you do something that was negligent, something different from what the average person would have done under the circumstances, you can be held liable. Law enforcement officers would not be held liable for mere negligence, but rather for gross negligence, reckless disregard, intentional misconduct.
Okay.
Those higher bars would have to be met.
Whew. Al, good to see you back.
Yes, good to be back. I restarted my computer. I think we're good.
They said we need a GoFundMe for all of your gear. Like, people are sad for you.
No, it's just I think after a while, stuff just burns out. Cords burn out. I've been using this SoundScan for about 5 or 6 years for hundreds of podcasts, and I think it's just it's at that time. It's a sad day. I did want to ask you this, Jerry, and what do you think after all this is over? Let's hope that it gets resolved. What will happen to the people that were deported? Will they be brought back? Will they have any standing to be brought back by the federal government? Like, will they be able to sue if they were an American citizen that was sent away illegally? Like, what
Yes, sure.
punitive damage could be laid out there?
They can sue to be brought home. If they're citizens and they shouldn't have been deported, the courts can order them returned.
But sometimes they don't listen to the courts.
But they don't listen to the courts. There's nobody on the court officer is not going to go down and bring this person back. They're going to hold people who fail to do what the court ordered in contempt for failing to do it, and then they have penalties that can grow over time, depending on how long it stays that way. But typically, when they give an order, like an order of return, the government wants to appeal it, and they try to get the appellate court to issue, or the district court to issue a limitation on the enforcement of the district court's order until the appeal has been resolved. That's what a lot of these emergency appeals have been about at both the appellate and the Supreme Court levels.
So, Dad, let me ask you what Michael Dean, because it's a great question, asked right now. Can there be a class action lawsuit against Minnesota protesters that have been pepper sprayed while they were peacefully protesting or mishandled? Could there be some kind of lawsuit against the ICE agents as a class action, which means a bunch of people all having the same harm done come together and sue? Would that be possible?
Yes.
Oh.
Wow.
But
I didn't know that.
But it would be, you could get to the same thing by having this a large number of people be named plaintiffs in the lawsuit, not a class. The judge has to determine whether the class meets the standards for being coherent as a class, and whether it will help resolve things better to do it as a class action. There's a lot of procedural steps you have to, hurdles you have to meet to have a class certified. If it were certified, I see no reason why that class of protesters couldn't certify. If the citizens of Minnesota tried to form a class on their own, it wouldn't work.
Okay, so someone is asking you, Julie is asking, if someone's held in contempt, does that mean fine or does that mean jail?
Could be either or both.
Okay. Someone who is obviously pro-ICE and pro-Trump says, why was he carrying a gun and 2 magazines? Dad, legally, that there's open carry and he had a license. Did he break any laws by bringing that gun into a peaceful protest and not going after any of the police?
Well, 2 points. One, I think it's closed carry is allowed in Minnesota.
No, open carry is allowed too.
Open as well? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in any event, he had his gun, he didn't have it open. It was
On his hip.
holster and hip. And no, there's no rule that says you can't bring a lawfully owned gun to wherever you're going as long as you don't use it.
Right. Which he didn't.
In any way.
Right. So
there's also footage of an angle where they removed the gun from his person before he was shot. It's as clear as day. They've slowed the footage down frame by frame. So the gun was discovered by the ICE officers, removed by the ICE officers, and he was then shot. So he was
unarmed by the time they shot him. That's a good point, Al. Someone
recognize that you slow it down to see it frame by frame, but in real time that took very little time, and people react under stress. And so I think what you had here was probably not an ICE officer he may have been angry, but I don't think he was murderous in his intent. I think he panicked.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Will the ICE Coatsider says, will the ICE agent involved in the shooting be prosecuted by the state of Minnesota? Again, great question, because if it's by the state, again, Trump can't pardon that. Do you think the state of Minnesota will we haven't even heard about Jonathan Ross, who shot Renee Good. We have no arrest there. Do you have any hope or thoughts that this might go into a state investigation?
Yes, I think they're going to try to do an investigation, and they could very well try to bring charges against these people. Although, remember, these people have been relocated. The officers involved are not in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And if they're not there, then there's an issue about whether they can issue warrants to get them, and they have to have them brought back to the state. It can be done. The state, as far as I'm concerned, could prosecute. Again, the immunity issue comes up. But
Okay.
you could indict.
Okay, and then for all those in the comments talking about how you shouldn't have brought a gun to a protest, which was absolutely legal to do, I just want to ask you, and you can write in the chat, how you feel about now not supporting your own Second Amendment rights. People like Kyle Rittenhouse, who brought an automatic, shot 3 people. He was sort of seen as a strong winner for the people on the right. Why is this so different? I would just, to me, it's very hypocritical, and I would just really appreciate you writing and letting me know. So. Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
No, Tori, I was going to say, as they're writing those comments, and I think that's a great question. Jerry, I want you to take a look at this video because I'm curious about like what potentially would be the outcome of this. So let's take a look.
Have any jurisdiction here? This is New York City, not your playground.
Lieutenant, we're just doing
Your job ends at the city line. We run things down here.
Officer on, sir.
Good. You're under arrest for unlawful detainment and impersonation of a police officer. You don't have any to me now. What? You got nothing to say? You think you can snatch people up down here? Huh? Not in my city. You just cowards hiding behind masks.
Yo, they really covered ICE.
Resisting. Hands behind
I'm not resisting. You got no jurisdiction here.
Zip tie him. Lock him up. You are under arrest. You understand? This is illegal. Move it on. Hey, back up.
You back up, cops now. You don't have any power in our city. We run things here. You hear me?
We're doing our job, Sergeant.
Your job ends at that federal line. Down here, you're just guys in black hoodies grabbing people off trains. Not anymore.
Hey, back
no,
up.
you back up, cops now.
Stay down, man. Stop twisting.
Cuffs secure. Weapons out of the holster.
EMS, notify transit. We got 3 in cuffs, 8 now southbound.
Stay down, man. Stop twisting.
Cuffs
You think nobody sees you hiding behind a mask?
Step back, officer.
Nah, not today. Stop hiding behind masks. You want to snatch people up? Do it in the daylight. You can play those games in other states, but not in New York.
So brave, let them see your face. Hey, whoa. Yeah, that's who you are. Remember that. Not today. You don't come in here and snatch people at a parade.
All right.
And
So,
yeah.
Tori, what were you thinking?
Well, some of these videos have been seen as AI, so I want to be careful about all of these videos, but it does bring up a really good point that Al's saying is what happens when the local and the federal start, who has the jurisdiction? What happens if they start fighting each other?
A lot of bad things happen when they start fighting each other.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like 2 armies fighting in a war.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
And things can get out of hand. As to whether or not the New York police could lawfully arrest them, I don't know the grounds on which they've arrested them. They certainly have a right to be in New York as federal agents doing a lawful if they were doing it lawfully. So I don't know why the state would have power to arrest them for just doing what their job was.
Well, let me ask you a question. If their job is purely immigration and they don't have jurisdiction over anything else but immigration, and they're bothering people and just brown people, is that not going past their limit of immigration and jurisdiction? Are they not going too far in their in what they're doing?
Yes, I don't know whether that's grounds for arrest by state or the local police. I have to think about that question.
Okay.
Before I would answer it. But
Tori and I have never said that. We just, I'll say something. I said words.
Yeah, I said something. That's interesting. Christina wants to know, how do you all feel about Pritzker's statement that he's building a case against administration officials and will be prosecuting in 2029?
Yeah, Jerry, you weigh in because I definitely have some thoughts.
Well, that's certainly possible. They could be violations of state law, and he's waiting for Trump to be out of office before he brings them. As long as the statute of limitations hasn't passed, he can certainly do it. Whether he can demonstrate that they don't have immunity, that's another question. But yes, he can bring it, and he can bring it that long, as long as the statute of limitations hasn't passed.
How much of that do you think is like something that, now I'm asking you to tell us how you think they feel, but how much of that is political posturing and how much of that is actually possible? Because from what I've heard from a lot of people, they would not vote for a candidate that didn't say at this point, if you vote me into office, I will prosecute these people. Is that more of something that almost you have to say, and maybe they might feel in their heart, but they might know deep down that's going to be a real tough thing to actually do?
Yes, but someone like Governor Pritzker, I suspect that he means it, that he would do it.
I agree.
but it may be more limited than he suggests. That he's not going to go after everybody.
How at risk are like Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller?
Kash
Because
Patel.
they're not
Yeah.
Kash Patel. They're not as powerful as the sitting U.S. president. Do they have the same immunity that the Supreme Court basically said that the president has?
They don't have the same immunity as the president, but they have fairly substantial immunity claims. And you can't sue them you can't arrest them or sue them for their policies as being illegal. They were adopted the way you're unhappy with them. I'm unhappy with them, but you can't say that they were unlawfully set out. It's being unlawfully applied.
Can I ask you a question? You know how the Supreme Court said you could racially profile, or basically if someone looks of a certain skin color, they can be questioned? Is when ICE agents pull up to someone who's just brown and say, I want to see your papers. Where were you born? Because we're seeing that over and over and over again. Is that legal?
Seems to me no. It seems to me that that's the kind of thing that a court would issue an injunction against, and the question is whether or not it could be enforced. You have to do it agent by agent.
Wow.
Or if somebody is telling them to do it, you could go after the person who's telling or training them to do it that way.
So if I'm brown and someone comes up and says, show me your papers, I can say you don't have the jurisdiction to do that. I can refuse to show my state ID.
You have the right to do that, yes.
Then they take you down.
I mean, well, they take you in, one or the other, till you prove it. I mean, similarly, when somebody stops a speeding car and asks for identification, wants to do a blood test or something, and a breathalyzer test, and you can reject. You say no, but that just means you're going to be arrested and brought to a station, and things are going to happen.
Yeah, there are consequences.
So there are consequences to refusing to provide the information.
All right. This has been so. It's just really good to talk to somebody that actually kind of knows the law, because I think after what we all think and feel inside, the actual law and how it pertains to the people that have been given this incredible responsibility, we are in the dark. So, Tori, what do you say we transition really quickly? Because I want to ask your dad about this. Let's play this right here.
You know what, Sam Darnold, they turned him loose in the first half. Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator for Seattle. I think he said, I can trust him with the football today. 209 yards passing and a touchdown in the first half. Sam Darnold is playing great football for Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, he is. We thought we were talking about the first game, but it's okay, because, it was a great first game. I think whoever is going to play.
All right. That was kind of making the rounds this weekend. Terry Bradshaw, who is getting older in age, has been making more and more mistakes, especially on such a big stage as this.
So he was just talking about the wrong game?
He was talking about the wrong game. And he's started to do this more and more. And I'm wondering, as somebody that's like part of a firm, you guys have a reputation to uphold. As people come in and out of the firm, you expect it to go on forever. Do you have anything in place if there was a lawyer in your firm that you feel like was no longer, firing on all cylinders, and like a way to kind of slowly pull people back from maybe representing your firm? Because at that point, no matter how you feel about it, Terry Bradshaw is representing the CBS network, and, they want to look competent in their job.
The answer is yes. Technically, the partnership agreement does provide mechanisms for dealing with that. But again, you spoke of the culture of the firm. This would be done in a way that would be as least harmful to the individual, and giving the individual the most opportunities for either help or, if necessary, stepping down. But it would be done on a culturally sensitive basis.
And would that be in the contract, that a clause that you have to be able, and would that be a contractual thing that they could fire him from, or just because, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you got to deal with the ADA and other kinds of laws about that. You can't just fire somebody because they're mentally failing. If they're not able to do their job, you can, with reasonable accommodation, then you maybe can just terminate them or put them in a different job that has less responsibilities. But we retain associates are at least we look at this way, associates and counsel like me are at will employees. So they're relatively easy to terminate if you just want to terminate them. The partners have a whole separate situation. That's contractual.
It feels like Diane, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, please go ahead.
I was just say it feels like a Diane Feinstein situation where, like, you know what I mean? Everyone's just like, oh.
Right. Yeah. It's, you know, and I would hope, you know, that we do this show long enough toward that we get to a point where maybe somebody needs to pull us aside.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll do that. I'll take care of that.
Thank you. And he's like, that's why I'm on the show today, Al. Yeah.
This is an intervention.
I mean, on a personal note, I've had that conversation with my mama. Like, she's told me, like, if I'm losing it, take the keys. Like, let me know. Like, and she said she wanted to have that when she was of sound mind and body. And it's it's almost kind of the equivalence in the same stream as talking about somebody's will. You're like, Mom, I don't want to talk about that right now. You're fine, you know. But I think these are conversations that are tough to have. And I'm sure, like every great broadcaster, you always feel like you have your fastball. So it's not, they're not just gonna be like, you're right, I should leave. It's probably gonna be an uncomfortable conversation, but maybe one that needs to be had nonetheless.
Yes.
All right. Well, Michael Dean, you teased us over the text thread and said that you may have some Super Bowl ads for us to look at. If that is true, I am very excited. Excited for this Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl that's going to go down.
By the way, it's Jag wants to know, we can't afford you, Dad, but how much to keep you on retainer for the show?
An occasional hug from you. and a less occasional hug from you, Al.
I'll just dap Jerry up. Like Jerry's been in DC a long time. He's one of us.
That's right. And I just have one more question for Jerry about this, and I'm sorry to go back. How do you feel about the whole European entity basically turning against America in a way that we haven't seen in an extremely long time, including Canada, Mark Carney having that speech telling us that Canada isn't great because of America. Canada's great because of Canadians, and Davos and Switzerland and all this, and Denmark. What do you feel and fear about the European response? I
think they have recognized and are now articulating a recognition that the old rules that applied the old rules since the end of World War II just aren't there anymore. That there are three hegemons in the world. You've got Russia, China, and the United States now. Each one who wants effective control over their region of the world, and that would leave Russia would be the party to take over Europe if that happened. So I think they've come to the realization that what they call the middle powers, if they actually combined. Especially with Canada joining and maybe some others, they are of a similar size,
right?
Three, and if they could act with some unanimity and regularity, they could protect themselves. They'd also recognize they have to devote more of their assets to protecting themselves.
Wow!
It is true that Europe has for a long time been riding on the United States coattails for defense. And have been putting less than they probably should have into their own defense capabilities. And they've come to realize that, and Trump, this is one thing you can say Trump did reasonably well, was to make them realize that they have to put more money into the pot for that. And they are. But they also realize if they put more money in the pot and they build up their defenses, they actually, if they coordinated, could be a nuclear-powered group that could deal as an equal.
Right. Right. If you guys haven't seen the Mark Carney speech, it was like Hugh Grant in Love Actually, Al, if you've ever seen that movie where
I have not.
Oh, of course you haven't. But he got to have a moment being like, we are not just there for America. We are here for ourselves. And I highly recommend. It was a really amazing speech. And he got a standing ovation. And that's only happened, I believe, once before. And it was a really inspiring speech. So just wanted to take that. And one last question. Sorry, Al, but Michael Dean says, if a Democrat wins next, can we repair the world order and have our allies trust us? Or is this permanently sort of damaged the trust? I always think that Trump stands out as an aberration president and things will go back to homeostasis, but would love to know your thoughts.
Oh, I think it'll go back if we had a generation or two of Democrats and or rational Republicans. It could come back to, as you call it, homeostasis, but it's not going to get done with the next president, unfortunately.
Wow. Yeah, things take a long time. And on a kind of personal note, you know, when I stopped drinking, I remember I was talking to a friend of mine. I had probably not been drinking for maybe a year or so. And, you know, I was talking to a friend of mine because I was upset because somebody, you know, still made a comment about my drinking. And I was like, I haven't drank in like a year. And what they were saying was, for a long time, you did. And, you know, it takes that amount of time for people to get that trust back. And I do think that, like in a sitcom movie theater world where in an hour and a half this all gets wrapped up with a nice bow, I'm sure we would love that. But I think what your dad said is more realistic, because what he was really saying, if you think about it on a family level, is like Europe is like the kids and they realize that their parents both drink a lot. Yeah. And we need to learn how to make dinner. Totally. Because mom and dad are sleeping in the bathtub. And that's what we are as a country right now. And you can't sober up, get out of the bathtub and be like, why the kitchen's a mess. You guys we have as a country allowed ourselves to be exposed, because if I was another country, even if Trump is gone, Tori, to your point, if I'm a country in Europe, I'd be like, yeah, but the 77 million people that voted for him, last I checked, are still there.
That's a great point.
So that, you know, until we get the green light that all of them have seen the light, then how can we proceed forward? So that I think we've made a bet that we will not easily get out of. And I think it's something that this country has really never dealt with before.
Yeah, there's a sign that says, Barack Obama, will you come back? The babysitter's weird.
Yeah,
that's a great analogy, Al. That's a really smart analogy.
It's such a and before we move on, because I know Michael Dean probably has a Super Bowl ads queued up. I don't know if you saw, we talked about this probably way back on DBL, Tori, about Kanye West making a statement saying that he would like to be forgiven or given a pass for his anti-Semitic comments and just anti-everybody comments that he's made over the course of the life. Remember, slavery is a choice. He said some stuff.
Yeah.
And now he is saying what, kind Tori?
He is now saying that he was not only bipolar, and he's been open about that, and that causes the brain to do sort of, you know, manic things. He also was saying he was in a terrible accident and that it affected his frontal temporal lobe, which is with a lot of executive functioning and things like that. And this was all data in the Wall Street Journal, not someplace you'd think a lot of musicians or sort of rappers are reading at that point. But is there a chance for you, do you think, Dad, for Kanye, that there can be a forgiveness? Because as Al wrote to us on the text, like, America does forgive. He is beloved for his music when it was good. And in the chat, I'd love to hear what you guys think, if you think that Kanye can have a comeback.
I haven't seen the ad, so this is a new question to me, new issue to me, but I will.
Oh,
I would venture a guess that he won't be forgiven in the way he wants. His bipolar position, and his accident, if all that occurred, led him to say all these things. They don't go away, and so he's liable to say some more things. So this may be the aberration.
Okay. Hey, yeah, Kathy loves to travel. Just gave us $50 in honor of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Just want to let you guys know how much I appreciate you all, including Michael Dean, Tori's dad, and of course the dogs. That's so kind of you.
Appreciate you, Kathy.
That's very kind. She didn't say she appreciates me, just my dad, but that's okay. Like, I'll take that. I'll take it.
You two are the dogs. Come on.
First of all, your daughter and I are such narcissists. We're both like, I didn't see my name.
I know. That's so true, Al. That's so
awful. True. I was like, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Oh, $20 from Sea Dog saying, appreciate you for all being here. That is so kind of you guys. We really appreciate that. And Brandon agrees with Dad saying Kanye's got to change his behavior before getting forgiveness.
Right. It's I will say this, and speaking of another condition I've been open about, I have ADHD, and it's just something I deal with, and I'm kind of proud to have it. It has its advantages as well.
Yeah.
But what I realized is even people in my life that know that I have it, if they give me a date like, hey, Al, I need you to perform on the 13th of June, and I miss that date, they're still pissed. So even if you have a diagnosed mental health condition, people don't just go, oh, slavery was a choice. But yeah, of course, people, that still registers with people. And I don't think that even having a confirmed clinical diagnosis will take away that pain, because Kanye, as opposed to, I think, a lot of other artists, a lot of A-list celebrities, he wasn't just music for people that are of a certain age. Kanye raised you through your young adulthood. Like every album, you could remember the summer, and he spoke in a way that just cut right to the core of everybody, no matter what your socioeconomic or racial status was. And I think when you are on that kind of pedestal, when somebody that you've given that much kind of credence and importance in your life betrays you at the very core, it's a different kind of hurt than just saying like, oh, I heard the lead singer of so-and-so doesn't think women should vote. Like you're like, it's just kind of a weird blip news story. But when a person that your generation has unofficially kind of been given the task of speaking for your generation, when that mouthpiece betrays you, it's a different kind of pain.
That's a good point. I do think it's a good start as an apology, but I think you're absolutely right, Al. You got to prove it. We got to see behavior. Like it wouldn't hurt if he went to some synagogues and discussed with rabbis. I mean, it might look like it's posturing, but that would, at least there's some behavioral changes.
As we said about in America trying to restore its balance with the rest of the world, and it's going to take time, this too would take time and real effort.
I agree with that.
I'll say this, and just to put a pin on it, but it made me think about this person who was equally as famous about a generation before was Michael Vick. And
I was just thinking of him. Yes,
his fall from grace story. He was as popular of an athlete as you could be. He was electrifying. And with the situation with the dogs, he went to jail for 2.5 years. I believe he went to Leavenworth. And when he came out, he didn't say I was falsely accused or you guys were mean to me or wrong to me. He came out and he changed his life and he became an advocate for animals. Right. And he's walked that walk for now 10, 15, 20 years maybe.
Yeah.
And so I think like there is a path, but I think Michael Vick showed us it's long, but if you stay on it, people don't think about it anymore.
Yeah. So I guess the quote that's important is Kanye says, I'm not asking for sympathy or a free pass, though I aspire to earn your forgiveness. So we'll see where that road takes him. And if he stays on his medicine and all these things, we'll see how that goes.
All right. Michael Dean, do you have those Super Bowl ads? You don't want to push those till tomorrow? Okay. He gave me the hold up 1 second finger. All right. Well, we are going to, okay.
Oh, here we go. Budweiser. Oh, that's the most American ad I've ever seen in my life.
I was about to say that was laden with, I know we're down in the mud now, but spread your wings. Tori, what are your initial thoughts? Because I saw a neglected bird for the first 10 years of its life. They get the shelters and the mud. He didn't even look back once he dropped it. He was like, good luck, bro.
I just think that they really found a real hit when the Clydesdale horse and the dog became friends. Do you remember a few Super Bowls back, that ad? And it struck a nerve. And I think Budweiser realized animal friendships of cross species somehow does very well. And it really does. Like it does well on the internet. It does on Instagram. But I just think it's like really, really sweet. And I got immediately touched and I kind of liked it. I don't know if I'm
touched when he dropped the eggs on the ground. That was like, where did those come out of?
Well, there was an abandonment. I mean, there's a sense of abandonment and you need friends and you need help. And I don't know, Dad, what were your thoughts on this? It is a little much. I agree. Michael Dean says the symbolism was a little much. The bald eagle was a little much. I agree. What do you think, Dad?
My reaction was that somebody was drinking too much beer, Budweiser or other, but when they did this, it was a little surreal for a Super Bowl at it.
Yeah, I guess. Lee now says my favorite was with the horse and the mouse. See, they found this like little thing, and now they're just pushing it. Now it's a bald eagle. It's like, okay,
right. It was a little much, but I will say this in defense of it. I do think if you think about when the Super Bowl will be on in a couple weeks, I think, as a group, we are kind of down as a country. We're not feeling the sense of country pride that we once did.
Yeah.
And I think people want to feel that again. And Budweiser is like, we hear you. And like, this is what that feeling will come, first of all, when you drink a Budweiser. But when we all see that we can get out of the mud and spread our wings and fly, is it hammering it over the head? Absolutely. But, people are 14 shots deep at this point.
That's a good point.
Like, people aren't watching this sober. So, yeah,
that's a good point.
It's not for me, but I give Budweiser. I think it'll be a highly effective commercial. Michael Dean, is that the one we have, or do we have another one?
Wait, really quick. Michael Dean also said Budweiser is trying to win its place back in Republican hearts. Remember the whole situation with Dylan, the trans person, getting like a Budweiser? Do you remember that, Al?
Of course.
So it's an
Bud
interesting
Light issue. Yeah,
the Bud Light issue, and people were like shooting Bud Lights. Remember? That's an interesting point by Michael Dean. I think that they're trying to get back to like, I like bald eagles, horses, and sunshine and beer. That's America.
Right. And I mean, I think that at the end of the day, that just appeared to be nothing but stock manipulation. Because I remember seeing it worked because they tipped
That's advertising.
That's advertising. Michael Dean asked Dad, how helped Jerry? What should those of us that feel helpless do in a time where everything feels like it's falling apart? And I realize, guys, that America's had times like 1863 when brothers were fighting brothers. I mean, we've had horrific times before, but any coping mechanisms? You're very good when I freaked out about math homework. Any kind of help on this in terms of how are we supposed to just like keep living our lives?
Oh, that's a bit beyond my training. But I'll try for it.
Okay.
We just want to know how to be you, because you seem like such a steady ship.
Yeah, exactly.
I compartmentalize is the answer. To recognize that this is aberrant behavior that's going on, that we've survived this sort of thing before. It takes time to heal, but this is not fatal. We're wounded. We're not dead. There's an opportunity to heal, and there will be times to do that. And to run, and this is a practical matter, to see how much of your life you can run without the failings of the government depressing you. You can do things like literally not turn off your phones and don't wear a feed.
But is that
except for this show?
Right, of course. But is that considered silence right now, Dad? Like at this point, we're seeing somewhat of a revolution. And if we turn off our phones and turns our heads, is that kind of saying silence, is the same as being on the wrong side at some point?
Valid point. If there's if you feel strongly about it, there's an opportunity to protest in a lawful way.
Yeah.
That is not that goes along with what I was saying. That's another part of it. Mm-hmm. I should have added that in. But it is it's a matter of coping. You have to decide whether coping for you individually means to protest and to be aggressive, be active, or whether you simply want to try to make your life as calm as possible and get through this. Those are two alternatives.
That's fair. There's breaking news. Gregory Bovino, the face of an aggressive Border Patrol campaign, also has an SS jacket lookalike, by the way, is being reassigned right now. We're getting this out of Minnesota. So
yes, he's been sent back to the Nestle Toll House tree. That little solid off little man.
Someone wrote, I'm from Germany, and that jacket looks awfully familiar. I mean, he cosplays as like a Nazi. I mean, it's very strange. But and Jacob Fry, just now breaking, Trump told him in a phone call that the present situation cannot continue. So Al, we are seeing a complete tonal shift and somewhat of a backtrack. Dad, did you think also any of this was to hide from Epstein?
No, I don't think this was the idea. Well, I think there's always the risk that that's part of what he's doing whenever he does it. But no, I don't think this is what he was doing because no, I think he would have tried to do things that were less risky to gain attention and divert attention from the Epstein issue.
Interesting.
And I'm not sure that, frankly, at this point, that the Epstein issue, I don't know whether that's going to turn out to be a burst balloon if and when everything comes out.
Well, they're 36 days past when they're supposed to have opened it. They're already breaking the judicial opinion of trying to open the files. But you think that nothing will happen?
Well, something might happen, but I don't think it's going to be as explosive as people think.
Interesting.
Well, that was my question. I wanted to know, like, if you thought we were ever going to see anything more about Epstein, but I think that might be it. And speaking of might be it, what a show, Jerry! What a surprise! This was beautiful.
Isn't that so good?
Yes, it's going to be hard to do a show that Jerry's not on because it's going to be how clear the vacant gaps, and it's like the judge ruled that you can't do that because that's really messed up, bro.
Totally. That's against the law, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically what I said. So you were right on top of it.
Jerry, you have a wide open door to this show anytime. Please pop on more regularly because, quite frankly, we need you during times like these. I can tell that the colleagues were just super pumped to get some clarity with these issues that we've all discussed, but we would like to have a valid, superior legal opinion. Totally. Michael Dean, you were awesome today. As always, thanks for having everything queued up. Colleagues, make sure.
Too.
Hold on. Let me do it. Thank you for reminding me. Hold on.
So sorry to interrupt, Al, but you guys are going to like this one. Okay, you guys ready?
Yes.
It's true. Hugh Grant's middle name is Mungo. So he's Hugh Mungo Grant.
That's amazing. That's also putting a lot of pressure on a young boy. You gotta really.
There's something wrong with his parents right there.
Yeah.
It's Hugh John Mungo Grant. Isn't that crazy? That's insanity. I thought you would like that fact, everyone. It's just like uplifting. I don't know if it's uplifting, but it's funny.
It looks great on a driver's license.
It sure does. Oh, God.
All right. Well, colleagues, we appreciate y'all. Michael Dean, Jerry, family, forever. Tori, you were amazing today. Colleagues, we will see you tomorrow. Love y'all. All right.